Participation of locals in the industry. On Talk of the Nation, we speak to the chairperson of the Uganda Oil and Gas Service Providers, Professor Charles Kwesiga. All right, thank you and welcome to the program, Professor.
Thank you.
So, oil and gas. That's a song that I don't know when the launch is happening, but you know, are we ready? Are our companies ready for this in 2020 when we produce the first barrel?
We have yet to work harder to make sure we are ready. It is possible, but as things stand right now, look at what is required for any industry to flourish, for any industry to happen. You must have technologies that are appropriate and affordable. You must have a skilled manpower to run those technologies, and you must have affordable financing. The financial infrastructure should be in place to support that industry. And so when we say we're ready, it depends upon which aspect of readiness you're talking about.
Ready to take part in the process, because now we're talking about local content and we are asking for a piece of, you know,
we are definitely
space there. We
are getting there. We are working hard. Different players are doing the best they can. And the essence of this association that I chair is to consolidate, coordinate, and work together to make sure that where we can participate as local entities, we do. And we are making some progress in that direction.
Okay. So there's a glaring skills gap, quite frankly, and yet we started this process way back in 2009, or even much earlier. We're discussing this before we came on air. Didn't we realize or recognize that we would need professional skills in the oil sector? And now, of course, I acknowledge that there's Chigomba Oil and Gas Institute. There are quite a number of them that are starting to come up now.
Yes.
But for the process that we're at now, which is just 2 years to go, didn't we realize that we'll need professionals in this industry? And
we are indeed working hard. Recently, January 25th, there was a conference organized by the Chamber of Mines where that issue was discussed, and the President of the country, His Excellency Museveni, said, my appeal is that Ugandans should take up private vocational and technical institutions and train welders and other technicians. The government is also training technicians, but the private sector should play greater roles and get international certification for the technicians. So when you have that kind of goodwill at the helm of government, there is definitely hope. And part of our challenge as an association is to make sure that we answer to that appeal. And exactly, that's what I want to ask you. How is your organization helping local companies gain a foothold in the sector? One of the most important, most critical issue is, do we even understand the business of oil? Do we understand the value chain from the oil well to the consumer? Because it is by understanding that value chain that you are able to identify what skills are required, what technologies are required, and what infrastructures are needed. And so our association is comprised of very good people with tremendous potential to answer to such appeals. But the skills, I'm confident, are not difficult to impart. Just knowing that there is that need, and let everybody involved play their part. The skills for oil and gas are not the same as skills in general industry. The oil companies are extremely fastidious on what kind of quality skilled person they can have.
All right, as somebody who is directly engaging in this oil industry, what's the nature of the companies that have started lobbying? What skills do they have, and what skills lack, so that if somebody out there is watching, they know where to tap?
That's the essence of this coordination and collaboration, that we can help each other identify where these skills can be obtained. And understanding what skills are we talking about.
And what skills are we talking about? Right. I should ask you.
I hear, when we are talking about setting up a pipeline, for example, the kind of welder you need to work on that pipeline is not the same welder that you have for the general standard welding in industries. The certification process is extremely different because they have to take all the precautions. For example, if somebody, if you make a weld and you leave an air gap inside the weld, when those gases come through, hot as they are, air is going to expand in that air bubble, and you'll blow up Bunyoro. So even the certification process called non-destructive testing in a welding institution, it demands an approach that is equivalent to an X-ray of a human bone to see inside the weld to make sure.
But it appears that some of these jobs, or where Ugandans would otherwise have penetrated, have been ring-fenced by the top people and used proxies through Western firms.
There's no such a thing.
And so ring-fenced for themselves the certain jobs that should be taken up by
I'm
others.
not aware of any such a thing happening. When Total starts hiring people, I don't think they'll be looking for the ring-fenced jobs or whatever. They'll be looking for qualified people with the appropriate certification. They cannot do any less because a lot is at stake. And so the international aspect of it kind of dispels that notion that somebody can ring fence. How do you ring fence?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a minister of so-and-so, and I have my company. I know a friend who does this, so it's our thing.
That's pure speculation. I'm not aware of anything like that, because when I started the initiative of putting up Chigum Petroleum Institute, I didn't experience any of that. And those who could have tried were told straight off, say, look at the qualifications. And if a person is qualified, by all means. Recommendations are quite okay. But if you run an institution professionally, you can explain even to anybody who is tempted. You can say why things have to be done a certain way.
Okay, so you have a conference next month, and where you intend to roll out different deliberations regarding what we just talked about. How do you ensure that these deliberations, which most people say are quite elitist, trickle down to the ordinary Ugandan who should be benefiting from the oil sector as well?
This conference is a dialogue of among stakeholders, and by stakeholders we are not putting any limits as to who can or should be involved. It's a dialogue of those people interested in this sector, who have a stake in this sector, and particularly from our perspective, it is a dialogue to encourage and inform our private sector as to what is at stake, what is there, what is needed. And so they can start preparing and planning for. Some of them have already started, don't get me wrong. I have one of our partners, Q Sourcing.
Where is it going to be? Where is the conference going to be?
Here in Kampala.
Okay.
But the key players involved, even those, if you look at the list of some of those that are part of the organization, you have DFC, you have banks, you have ministries, you have
so how does, exactly, that's what I was asking you, because how does the, not the bank, not company limited, the small sector Ugandan, how can they benefit from this oil, gas? Because it appears it's for the big boys.
Okay, not really. If indeed oil transforms economies, there is a role for everybody. There is a benefit for a lot of us, a lot of Ugandans. If you look at the value chain per se, from exploration to field exploration to production to refining to distribution, there are all kinds of jobs along the chain. Are you going to import somebody to come and man the oil pump at the distribution point? Are you going to import a caterer to take care of the people who are, who are doing the jobs in the fields out there?
Okay.
Transport. But you must be prepared, because this dialogue is going to identify specific skills that you must have to participate in this.
Okay.
And generally,
in 30 seconds,
okay,
I have to go.
Okay. In general, when you engage in a significant industrial activity, the roads are built, people will be involved in that. The service areas are built. All these things will include the local population.
Okay, thank you so much. I've been speaking to the chairperson of the Uganda Oil and Gas Service Providers, Professor Charles Kwesiga, trying to highlight the fact that everybody can actually benefit from the oil and gas sector. That was Talk of the Nation.